What's up guys, and welcome back to WBC Builds. Today you're joining me for something a little bit different. This is something I probably should have done maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago now, but this is my Walhampton in review 2019. So I'm just going to take you a little tour around the whole town and show you a few things that I've built over the year and just talk about the growth and how this place has changed in my mind and in actual Minecraft over the last 6 months I've been working on it. So you're joining me here standing in front of the Limemore Tower again. So if you haven't seen that video, do go check that one out. It was a time lapse I did for the 500 subscriber special, and I just love this area. This area is going to be my next crown jewel of Walhampton. Once all the townhouses and buildings pop up around here, I've marked out a few places where I want some villas and just some large houses along Durnston Road here. So this road will eventually go off to the next town of Durnston, which I think I've definitely put the seed in people's mind for that while going through the Let's Build videos. But yeah, so this is just my sort of ramblings as we wander around, and I show you what's changed. So all this area was an island and a river originally, if you can see that in the time lapse. And I've always had the intention of building the docks down here. So I didn't actually know how the docks were going to look, and I couldn't fathom how to build them. So I got on board Patrick, who's been doing Brookwood, and I asked him, I was like, right, so you've built docks already over there, and they were amazing. Can you do it again for me? And he was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I drafted them in and got him to work, and he built these amazing docks. And I just love them because in my mind I've always had this area as the industrial sort of quayside bit. Like that row of buildings over here has always been looking out at a quay. I didn't know what that quay looked like, and it's taken nearly 6 months to get it in, but they've always been here. This is called the Sailor's Rest. It was a hotel pub that we were originally going to use in the 12 pubs video, which never happened. And then these 3 buildings here have been here since, I want to say, like the second week of me working on this world, which was about April. So when I say 6 months, I mean 6 months of sort of doing it for the channel. When I talk about Walhampton has been going on since April 2019, where I think we've been to it before, but where I built this building here on the corner. This was the first building, and as you can see now, there is a lot more about, which is just mad. So recently I just demolished a hill that had been the bane of my life since I started this place. It's the whole reason why I didn't build that way, I built that way. Because there was this huge hill here, and I went, I want to keep that because I didn't want to destroy too much landscape. But then I went, I don't really want to keep it because I want this area to be used for villas and large townhouses like these. So I've demolished it, and now I've got my sort of thinking cap on, and I've got ideas for what I want along this road. So that'll be another Let's Build video later on down the line. Speaking of Let's Build videos, we have one coming out soon, I believe, on the Buckland Place, which is an area over there we'll get to in a bit. But first of all, what's just caught my eye, which I completely forgot about, is this train again that Patrick has built and donated to me. I love it. I love it to pieces, and the way it sits here on this bridge and just lords over the place is incredible. I'm actually just so happy this place is starting to come out so well. Like, it's always been up here in my head. I didn't really ever envision us getting this far into it. Usually with a project, I just stop dead. If I get bored, or no one's interested, or if I can't think of an idea on how to do something, I will just stop it and go, right, start again. With Walhampton, I haven't done that, and I'm very, very, very happy I haven't done that. So you'll see over here, there's a mess of wall, and this is eventually going to be the train station, which I'm going to be doing for our 1,000 subscriber special. I know it's scary saying that. We aren't there yet, but we're getting there. So this mess of wall is, tracks, stations, crossing tracks and all of that. And originally the station was going to be here, so along that road directly opposite the market hall, but over time it's now shifted itself not once but twice away from its original location. So I then went, okay, the station could be here looking down that road, and then I built this connecting track in here which will go off towards Durnston, and obviously you need to tie that back in, so it never actually was going to work, so I had to move it further up this way. So hopefully the station can stay here and have a road going out towards that way. And to be honest, this has now left us a lot more space in between the high street and the station plaza that will be there, or the station square, because I want to build a couple of big buildings around it, like the theatre and the bus station. So I've got inspiration in my mind and from real life on what I want to do for that. So we'll get round to that for the 1,000 subscriber special. I just thought I'd show you that one off. Coming off over onto this road, this is a road called Hinton Road, and we're looking at a building here that I copied over from the original Whiteburg City. So Whiteburg City, I think I've explained, is a project I had going on about 3 or 4 years ago now, that I'd started in 2015. And it had a few iterations, and the final one was a sort of take on London in the modern day, with a lot of just random buildings thrown together. But this one was one of my favourite builds from it, and it was just a random corner pub that I built. So I brought it over onto this world and went, it actually works with this style quite well. It's the right scale. I did a little bit of detailing around the bottom of it. That was all part of the 400 subscriber Q&A background videos. So now it's sitting here. It's one of the tallest buildings in town. I actually measured it the other day to make sure it wasn't taller than the church, and the church spire I think is around 2 or 3 blocks higher than the top of that chimney over there, so that was good. That was a thumbs up from me that it's not the tallest just yet. But you're looking at what is and what will be the high street. So these plots have been empty for many months now, and it's starting to annoy me because I'm like, I've got so many ideas, but I just can't sit down and get them out onto the game. So eventually I will, because I keep promising everyone on YouTube that I will actually do this. So I did build a couple of buildings here, and they were mainly just to overlook onto the park, because the church park was coming along, and I went, okay, let's get a few buildings here. And I just got some inspiration that I really wanted to just splurge out into the game, and so I did. And these are like the only 2 buildings really along the high street, well, and this row here, which I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to keep. Now, the reason there's a question mark over them is because of, I don't really know how the building's going to look along the high street. I am going to have to sit down and work out like the height differences and the scalings of it all, because the high street is going to be long. So it goes up way past, let's just change the speed here, it goes up way past the church. So the high street will be all the way up to about, well, here really, before the buildings start falling off. You can see this is all terraformed, unlandscaped land. So eventually we'll cut all this down and start building buildings in here. But yeah, so I'm not sure. I think this lower part of the high street, the bit before the church, will be fairly short buildings like this. But I still don't know if I'm happy with them. So yeah, there's a question mark held over those. But not these ones. So these are the Passford Terrace and Avenue Road buildings that we built. So I think that was one of our other videos. Is that not changed? There we go. Yeah. And yeah, these are some of the newer additions to the town, and I thought they turned out really well. As you've seen probably if you've watched the Passford Terrace video, you'll see how I built these ones. And I wanted to include this tree. So this tree I plonked down maybe 6-7 months ago. When I started the world, I just went, okay, let's put a tree over here. And I've always wanted to try and incorporate it into the road, into a building or something. And so eventually I did rebuild this road so it went round the tree. So we've got this tree here, and I now need some inspiration on what to build in this corner plot, because I want it all to be quite cosy and nice. So if you have any suggestions on that, I would love to know. Just drop me a comment or put something up on Twitter for me. But yeah, so this brings us round to the Passford Water area, which I think is one of my favourite areas in town so far, and it is one of the only areas in town. So we've got the row of Victorian townhouses here, which I used much inspiration from a London visit. If you follow me on Twitter, you've probably seen a lot of my posts about these creamy bricked townhouses that just exist in London. And I was in Chelsea one weekend and I just saw them everywhere, and I was just taking pictures and pictures and pictures, and when I came home that Sunday I just sat down and built this street, and I went, yeah, that was pretty cool. But it does add this nice little view onto Passford Water, because we've got these whole white buildings here, the Canal Walk Terrace, and we've got Passford Walk over here, Passford Terrace. and these ones just add a little bit of colour, differentiation into it. Right, so behind me is the area of town known as Buckland Place. So I'm just going to come and stand in the park here because ever since day one, when I was planning out how this town was going to look, this area existed. This area here of like this headland between two rivers was already there. And I went, okay, these rivers can become canals, but I do want to keep this area and I want to put a house, like a big house on it. And so during the sort of run up to my 500 subscriber special, I put out a post on Twitter. You've probably already seen it. I said, right, we're going to have these two monuments. Which one shall I build? And so it was voted on that I build the clock tower, so I built that. And I came on one day and I discovered that this had been built. Not here, it had been built over back by the docks. And it was a gift given to me by Patrick, who's building Brookwood as well. And it was just, I was gobsmacked at the fact that he'd been, sat down and done this to me. And what is even weirder, and I did it on purpose, but what is even cooler actually is this monument exists in what is the real life Walhampton. So Walhampton is a little hamlet just outside Lymington, and there is a huge obelisk that just sits on a hill on the aptly named Monument Road or Monument Lane, and you can see it from the high street of Lymington. And it's always been like a sort of icon for me to look out whenever I'm in Lymington, just to see it across the water. And so I was actually going to build it. I didn't really know exactly where it was going to go originally. So when I started the high street, originally I was going to put it on that island down there just to try and simulate the whole, oh yeah, it's on a hill, but I didn't really feel this area was right for it. So once we got round to building Passwood Water and the canals around it, I just went, okay, I'm going to plonk it down here, and you're going to get some good vistas and good views of it from looking out that way. And yeah, the house behind it, I wanted this really nice big villa, big Georgian townhouse behind it. And I was looking around Google Earth at area in Gosport called, I can't remember now, Elverstoke or something like that. And there was just this road called Crescent Road, and it was just a pure like Georgian crescent. And I saw these houses and went, yes, I'm having one of those. So that's what happened there. And then we come on down this road here. So this is one of my first diagonal roads and diagonal builds I've done, like wholly diagonal. And I was really worried they weren't going to turn out well. But if I do say so myself, I love them. I think they turned out really well, and they actually have quite a nice beauty to them. They are solely just like diagonal. I haven't come around to do the gardens for these yet. But yeah, you can see I've tried, and I think, in my opinion, they've turned out quite well. So these form part of Buckland Terrace, which looks straight on over to Canal Walk. So I was going to put a little bridge across here, but I'm not sure if I am going to now. Only because I don't think there's enough distance to get the height on it. And we've got the bridge for Bridge Street over there. And yeah, this just brings us sort of back round to the areas we've been to before. And eventually this road will carry on up there when you can see the canal's route is going to be straight up towards there. And Bridge Street's going to carry on that way. And we are going to carry on these diagonal buildings. You can see there some more plots for them, and that's going to bend round and carry on alongside that canal. So that's just a little bit of insight into where we're going to go with this. Yeah, the canals are looking good. I'm shocked at how much we've managed to do in just a few months, really. And I'm just so happy how it's all looking. I posted some renders the other day on Twitter and actually on Reddit as well, and people were shocked at just how realistic it looks, and two, just how much is going on. But then I looked at it, and instead of thinking, oh, this is really good, I looked at it and went, it looks so empty. There's so much more to be built. So that's my goal for 2020, is to try and get Walhampton's High Street and sort of town centre complete. So we're going to come on back now to the Market Square and just sort of chill out here and do our final little wrap up. I just want to show you one thing. So when you start and you come onto the world for the first time, this is where you come into spawn now. So welcome to Whiteburg, and you can read all these signs, and you can go off to any of the other walks we've got, and also you can explore Walhampton. So I've put these little arrows here, so you've got Buckland Place and Bridge Street that way, and then I have two arrows pointing towards places that will exist one day. So if you come on and go, oh yeah, train station, you can see the train station, it's just a lot of blue wall at the second, so don't worry about that. But yeah, so I've got lots of ideas, lots of plans. It's just going to take a little bit of time for them to get out into the game. But I hope you guys want to stick around and just watch how this sort of evolves and goes over time, because we won't just be sticking into Walhampton. So I think I need to clean up some confusion as well. Walhampton isn't Whiteburg, but Walhampton is within Whiteburg. So Whiteburg's a kingdom or a country, plus it is also the capital city's name. So it may get a little bit confusing later on when we talk about buildings in Whiteburg, because actually I may show you that now. I have placed a lot of the buildings from the original Whiteburg that I really liked into an area of the world where Whiteburg will eventually be. So I've been around the world exploring, and I've gone, okay, let's find some villages and stick warps onto them, and they can eventually be transformed into towns and just actual villages. This one is where Whiteburg will eventually be. So please ignore just the absolute carnage that you'll see in front of you. I wanted to come over here and show you this. So this statue was built, I don't know, 5 years ago now by some builders on my old server, and it was just a feature piece of a lot of our worlds. And it doesn't look like I'm riding a horse. The animal in question is a donkey, apparently, and I don't know why the guy built it with me riding a donkey, but that is what it is. So yeah, this is obviously a lot of stuff that needs to be taken and put back into context and just sorted out. But these are some of my favourite builds from many years ago. You can see I've started building a road over here, and the building's just flowing. But this is a corner of Harrods that will be eventually built in this world, and you can see in the distance over here my favourite building I have ever built ever. So it's a recreation of the old Imperial War Office in London, and I don't know, this was built at the height of my building before I took a 2-3 year break from Minecraft, and I never finished it, which is really gutting. And so I copied it over, and it's going to form part of like the Parliament, part of the government building for Whiteburg. So you can see, yeah, it's completely unbuilt. But what's quite nice is it has this really angled wall, so we're going to have a road down there. But yeah, so that's Whiteburg. I think we should leave before anything else gets sort of spawned in, before we to see the mess that it is. So we go back to Walhampton, just to say, yeah, thank you guys for sticking around for what has been about 6 months now, and I look forward to just keep on building for you, because I love it, and I love the response and the love I get back for it. So please pop onto the server, come get some inspiration, come get some ideas for your own worlds, for your own builds, and I'll see you all. I guess I'll do another one of these either at the end of 2020 or maybe in August, so we get a whole year's worth of channel, and we can have a little catch up and see how much has been built. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.